Knock, knock.
Is there?
Expansion. That's right. We're talking ELF expansion. The league just announced May 15th. They will be adding new teams to the ELF, unsurprisingly, but I'm surprised it's coming this early.
Yeah. I was very shocked by this. Someone sent me this on WhatsApp a few days ago, and it said 9 nations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? So, sorry. 9 nations is what we already have, but there's going to be
15
nations, right?
Yeah.
What? 14? I find that's ridiculous. Yeah. 15 nations. There aren't 15 nations in Europe that could support an elf team. I think it's ridiculous.
It seems like a stretch.
It seems, yeah. I don't know if it was like a kind of a marketing ploy or like maybe it's like all the teams that you have been chatting to, but any team can. Do you know what I mean? Like the flipping, I don't know, like any team, any like Hodunk team can message you and be like, "Hey, I want to join Elf." Well, have you got 5 million to do it? No, well then you can't join.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I'm sure Patrick Azume's email is flooded with the Rinky-Dinkville Scorpions saying they'd want to join the ELF. Just for context, we're talking about a quote here from Jelko, the Zaraka, the ELF managing director. He said, already in 2 years, the European League of Football will consist of 24 franchises in 15 nations and will be a true European league. So he's saying in the next 2 years, they're going to add 7 teams from 6 nations to the league, which already has 9 countries and 17 teams right now.
Also, on top of that, there was a quote a month or 2 ago, I can't remember when it was, and Azume said there will be no more German teams.
I call BS on that.
Yeah, it could be, to be honest, yeah. I mean, they make the rules. They can say what they want and then change their mind later, so it doesn't really matter. But, I just can't think of 7 countries that could support an elf team, right? If you go for it now, I mean, we'll attempt to go through the list right now. Alex.
Yes, okay. So we're talking new teams from new countries right now that would enter the league. So Daniel's written some great articles about this in the past, and a lot of this still rings true. I think we got Scandinavia on the horizon here.
It has to be, right? Whether that's an Oslo, I mean, Norway are just wrapping up their season now, right? Mm-hmm. Oslo Vikings. In Stockholm, we have the Mean Machines. Obviously, they've been killing it.
Maybe the best name in Europe.
Yeah, I disagree.
Mean Machine.
Mean Machine. Mean Machine.
Mean Machine. Mean Machine. Mean Machine. Mean Machine.
6 seconds left on the clock. Con's down by 7. They must score on this play.
Fair enough. I think the Rinky-Dink Scorpions is the best name in Europe. But no, yeah, Stockholm, obviously, they could support a team. And then we have Helsinki, right? Helsinki Roosters, everyone's not really doing. They have fallen off a cliff recently in terms of wins, but
something tells me they'd be back.
They could be back. I mean, it's Helsinki, right? I mean, that's where like 90% of the population lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are great places. I've been to those places and played football there, and so I know that they can support teams there. They have the infrastructure, they have players that care about it, and they have, most importantly, money, right? So we have to think that there's going to be 1 or 2 teams at least from Scandinavia.
Yeah, definitely. Just butting in here, I think Copenhagen Towers. I know they've been in talks with the ELF, talking to some sources there. Don't know how far those talks went. I'm sure a lot of teams had talks with the ELF, but Copenhagen Towers, look out. They could be also on the horizon there. The other one, now if we're sticking with NFL Europe team here, Amsterdam Admirals, Adam Vinatieri, Kurt Warner, would they invest in Amsterdam Admirals 2.0?
No. I think no. I don't think so. So I don't think have I heard Kurt Warner speak about NFL Europe? Maybe it's part of his like journey. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they just did a movie about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they love it. But would Kurt Warner actually care? Not really. He probably hated it, to be honest. He was looking to get back to the NFL. But no, I mean, Amsterdam Admirals. Yeah, I mean, everyone thought that would have been the team from the get go, right? And I think in the prediction or the speculation articles I've written in the past, I've always had them in there because, again, they've got the money, they've got the foundation, they've got the fan base for it, right?
Yeah.
And so I was surprised they weren't it. And if we're talking 7 countries, 6 countries, was it 7 countries? 6 countries.
We need
7 teams.
7 teams from 6 countries.
If it's 6 countries, Amsterdam, I think, is definitely a city that will be involved in that.
Yeah, huge population, right? This is what they talked about before. They need a big group of diehard football fans, right?
But I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, you are absolutely the best fans in NFL Europe.
Amsterdam theoretically would provide that. However, I will say Amsterdam is freaking expensive, and the city's blowing up. A lot of companies are moving to Amsterdam, moving their headquarters there. Maybe they get some investors through that.
Nike European headquarters in Amsterdam.
Yeah, everybody's headquarters are going to Amsterdam since Brexit, maybe.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, it's a very people who are living there as well have quite a lot of disposable income.
Yeah,
that's something they have to look at, right? Who's going to pay this much money? Like elf tickets are expensive. Have you seen them recently?
Yeah,
bro, so much money. And so, like, I think like you're definitely looking who can afford a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you go to like I don't know, like Sarajevo, do you know what I mean? Like, can people afford tickets? Do you know what I mean? They probably can't afford 90.
Probably
euros.
not buying the $900 pass to
exactly.
Austria.
Yeah. By the way, Sarajevo is a beautiful, beautiful city.
I'm sure.
I love it. I'm going back there. I'm going back this year. But yeah, I don't think.
Are you starting an elf team?
Yeah. I mean, Sarajevo. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah,
Sarajevo Scorpions. There we go.
Yeah. They want to do what team? Sarajevo Spartans.
Love it. Even better.
Exactly. But yeah. So. Yeah, could be a thing, but also moving down slightly. I think maybe Thonon could be a shout in France. They've obviously been Paris Flash, which is obviously what the Paris Musketeers is kind of building on.
Right.
Thonon have always been their rival. It's a team that actually beat them in the final a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And they did great in Cephal as well. They've lost a lot of players in recent years, but they still have the base, I think. South of France or south-ish of France.
Yeah, I believe it's like sort of on the Swiss border with France.
Yeah.
It's kind of a ski town. What worries me there is it's not a huge city, right? Are people they have a football community, obviously, but we don't know how big it is. From a football side, I see why you picked them. They're one of the top European teams kind of historically, right? From a business point, are they an elf team? Not sure.
Definitely, yeah. And I think a lot of these choices that I've made have been just reaching for countries, right?
Right.
When 6, 8 nations, I just can't think of any.
Yeah. But one new nation we could add Belgium, Brussels.
Yeah.
Big city.
Yeah.
Not much football going on, to be honest. But the Black Angels now have joined that new BNL league. So there's some reason there's a little football momentum in the community, and it's a big city. So maybe there's something there.
They want more. They want more from their football. The players want more. The coaches want more. When you see new leagues springing up internally, there's Joey, people are itching for something else.
I'm sure.
And Belgium it's quite a big country. It's not that big, but I mean, you can get guys traveling from different cities, right? Yeah. And they've got quite a few teams in the country. So yeah, there's no reason that couldn't be a spot as well. I think it's easy for teams to travel there as well.
Yeah.
I think Brussels is a
very
big airport,
city,
very accessible city, like you said. The Germans, super easy for the Germans to get there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the Parisians as well.
Yeah, definitely. Brussels, Battlehawks, maybe. We'll see. Let's talk Eastern Europe a bit. We've added some Eastern teams with Wrocław Panthers, Prague Lions, Forever Throners near Budapest.
The Rams before.
The Istanbul Rams, yes. Do you see another team, maybe Belgrade or I don't know. What do you?
Yeah, I think so. 100%. Yeah, I think a team in Serbia makes a lot of sense. I think those guys have been putting out big boys that can play football for a long time. A lot of them go to Austria, go to Germany to play. Some of the best players in Europe have been Serbian in the past, right?
Yeah.
Goran Zec, for me, is a perfect example. One of the better DBs in Europe, easily. So yeah, definitely, and they've been competing on an international stage for a long time as well.
Yeah.
When you look at Vukovic, so yeah, I think they could definitely find a spot there. I think it'd be cheaper to support a team there as well in terms of stadium costs, in terms of paying players. It's all going to be relative, right, in terms of what you're paying. In that sense, I'm sure there's a entrance fee, right, which Elf is charging. But if you can say, hey, look, I can support a team, I can support a stadium, home games, travel obviously be expensive. But outside of that, cost of living is just much cheaper in Eastern Europe. Everyone knows that. So yeah, I can see Belgrade definitely.
For an outside investor, it's probably intriguing, right? because you could have maybe an ELF infrastructure at a fraction of the price, which would not be the case in maybe the most talked about candidate, the London team. Daniel, I know you have your ear to the ground here in London about ELF franchise. What have you heard? Anything? Whispers?
It's just a nightmare situation, right? London, it just seems like, for me, maybe I'm biased, but it just seems like the spot to have a team commercially, right? I'm not saying that London and the UK has the best football in Europe. Of course, I'm not saying that. But I think commercially it makes so much sense. When you see the amount of like athleticism in London, it's one of the most condensed cities in the world.
What is it, like 15 million people?
Yeah, it's crazy. And so many athletes playing different sports. And if you're an ELF team where it's a viable journey to get to the NFL or professional football, professional sports in general, because you are getting paid to play, I think you can bring crossover athletes in, right? And then you have also on top of that, commercially, it's one of the financial capitals of the world, right? I mean, you have so much money in London. You can buy, people are going to come and pay for games and play for games.
Yeah.
Those €900 tickets you talk about, people in London pay for that, right? Put on their Snapchat, they love that stuff. So yeah, I think it's something that makes the most sense. However, it's something that hasn't even nearly happened yet, right? From what I understand, right, I've spoken to teams that have been in contact with ELF, and it's always about finding the money, right? It's always about finding the funding. It doesn't seem to be a serious investor or a serious team, right? Either the investor wants too much equity, they want too much from the team, or the team's asking for too much money and they can't offer maybe what the investor wants. So yeah, it just seems to be a loggerheads. And I think we know that Patrick Azumi has an amazing relationship with Tony Allen because they were in NFL Europe together.
Sure.
However, I don't know how long Patrick Azumi is going to wait for a London team to do it themselves before he says, nah, that's enough. I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
Because they're losing money.
We're getting to that point now.
Yeah, right. You need the money. And London seems the only spot in the UK. I mean, you could argue maybe somewhere in Scotland, maybe Edinburgh or Glasgow, or maybe Dublin in Ireland. But you're never going to have the same potential as somewhere like London.
No, I mean, there's a reason the NFL has invested millions. 32 billionaires have said, I will give up a home game to play in London because it's going to make me more money in the long run. These guys are serious about it, and they picked London. They said, we need more fans in Europe. We're going to London. I mean, what are we talking about here? If we want to be NFL Europe, ELF, there has to be an initiative in London.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe, I mean, I don't know everything. I mean, I have spoken to a lot of people. I think I'm quite close to the community of footballers in the UK and the organisations. But I could be wrong, and there could be a team around the corner, maybe somewhere else I'm not aware of. And I really hope that is the case.
Yeah, me too. It'd be great to see that in London. It's a shame it hasn't happened yet, and I hope it happens soon. So what are the other things we were looking at with the quote from Karacha there, Zelko Karacha, the CEO of the league, is he was saying 7 new teams in 6 countries. So does that mean we have another Austrian team, another German team? So one team is getting a second team. Oh, excuse me.
One country.
One country is getting another team.
You think Germany?
I do.
I think Germany is oversaturated already. I think there's too much there. And I think ELF know that. But there's so many GFL teams that are still fighting for a piece of the pie. Mm-hmm. ELF is dominating. And when teams like Leipzig can't even field like a solid team, same time to Cologne now as well, it's a mess, right? I think people are about now, let's leave Germany for a while. I think Austria is a good shout though. I think Austria really is a potential landing spot. I think I've spoken to a few teams, especially in Vienna, who have said that that's what they want to do, right? We want to be an ELF. Yeah. But obviously there's 2 Austrian teams already. And I think Vienna Vikings have said that they don't want any other teams in Vienna playing in ELF, which is understandable. You want to corner the market, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've heard from some sources Graz Giants could be the team to make the jump. That would give us a distance from Vienna, solving that issue. Now, I don't know the population of Graz, but I don't think it's that big of a city. From a business standpoint, I don't know how much sense it makes. But they've been a decent enough football team. But, I mean, Now we're getting to the point you're talking about saturation in Germany. Would another team saturate Austria?
I think I can't think of a country that already has a team that wouldn't be saturated by another elf team, right? Even for someone like Italy, I watch Italian football like a lot, and I can't imagine another, maybe like Firenze Guelfi. Maybe the team from Florence, they could do it potentially, but money's always an issue in Italy, right? These guys, they pay their imports obviously, but they don't pay their domestic players, and they only have like 2 or 3 imports anyway. Yeah. They get pretty good turnout at their games, and that's what they rely on a lot of the time.
Yeah,
they don't have big sponsorship or anything like that. So yeah, I just can't think of another country that will be able to support it. So yeah, this whole quote from Jelko for me has just been a head scratch. I can't fathom it. But
I just thought the alternative, you could add 2 expansion teams from the same country, but I don't know where that makes sense.
Yeah,
right, because it's 7 teams. 7 new teams in 6 new countries. So you could add 2 teams from the same new country. By my math.
Yeah, you could, yeah.
But I don't know.
Where would that be?
Which country has 2 cities?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, this whole thing is just nightmare. I can't. We'll find out. I mean, Jelko has said that on the kickoff of the first game, when the season kicks off, we will find out some new teams.
May 19th, they're announcing new teams.
May 19th.
May 19th, 3 weeks away.
Oh, not even the first game. Wow.
At their opening press conference.
May
19th. Yeah, you sent me the link.
Oh, yes, yeah.
May 19th, they will announce new teams. I'm sure not all 7, but maybe 2 or 3 going into 2024. Very excited to see who it is. If you had to bet one team that's joining out of the ones we talked about, one team, one city, who would you bet that is announced on May 19th?
I'm going to say, just because it makes the most sense, London. Even though I've heard nothing about it, and everything I've heard has been the opposite, and it would just be, oh my God, I'll cry of happiness if a team from London. I'll be so happy.
Love that. Personally, I'm going Copenhagen.
Yeah, that's a good judgment.
Yeah. I know they've had their eye on it for a while, but I haven't heard much either.
Then we'll stop going, probably.
Yeah. But I like your enthusiasm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wishful thinking.
All right, guys. Make sure to tune in May 19th to the press conference. Maybe we'll do a reaction.
We will
podcast.
definitely write something.
So, yes, if you made it this far, hey, who do you think is joining the ELF? Make sure to leave a comment below and let us know. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.